Hi guys, welcome back to my channel where the gnomes live. This is Sharon Oyella, and today I have another grand reveal type video for you. We're going to turn some boring items here into something a little bit more magical. So today I decided to put some videos together of a treasure hunt that I did up at my parents' property, and I just went like a week and a half ago. I found some magical things, but I also found some boring things like this lid and some jars, a vegetable, some tiny lids, and I found some marbles which aren't boring. They're actually kind of exciting to find, but I have crafting ideas for all of these things, and I thought I would take you along with me for that ride and show you what I make with them. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to be doing with these, but I have to make an intro with the items that I'm going to be crafting with. So at this very moment, I'm not too sure how this is going to end up, but I'm sure it's going to be fun. If you prefer to skip the treasure hunt, you can use the timestamps in the pinned comment below and head straight into the crafting part of the video. But if you prefer to go on a little treasure hunt with me, then keep on watching, and let's meet each other at the old bottle dump. Alright guys, I'm back at my parents' house, and here's an old bottle dump that I was digging in last year, and I shared a video from that time then, and I've come back to look for some more treasures, and everything is overgrown. So we're going to dig today, just for a little while, and then I'm going to go back home. There I am. I got my thermos of coffee, and I got my tripod so I can bring it along with me. All of this is bottle dump. Dates from the 1800s to the 1960s, and it goes all the way around. Everywhere that you see in the camera, that's all bottle dump. And I also filmed a few clips last year, and you're going to see that in a few minutes as well. But first, let's dig over here. I'll set you up on a tripod, and if I see anything interesting, I'll turn you back on. Can you see that? There's milk glass right here. Still got the lid on. It's stuck. I just got my other little tool here. I love these little guys. They're quite the survivors too. Look at that. Aw, I'm in love with that. It's gonna be so cute in the craft room. Mixed paints in there. Love it. First find of the day. We'll keep digging. Well, I've been digging for a few more minutes. I haven't found anything else. But I was just talking to the universe, and I said, universe, I really want a blue pot. A little blue pot. I love those. And pocket watch, if that would be possible. Anything. I'll take anything at this point. Just anything. A little screw top bottle, I don't even care. I see some glass right here. Can you see it? Oh, that's the lid right there. Wow, it's really stuck in there. Oh, I got it! Oh, look at that! And it's got some sort of symbol right there. Not sure what that is. But look at the shape of that. 1950s maybe? That's cool. I love the shape of that. I don't think I've found one that shape before. Not bad for 5 minutes. Not bad at all. Alright guys, I'll keep digging. And I'll turn you off for a little bit. I'll bring you back if I find anything else. Say hi. I got you on video.
Okay.
Admiring my finds. What were you just saying about that one bottle?
I'm admiring it.
You haven't seen one like that before. The triangle one.
Eh?
The triangle one. You haven't seen anything like that one?
No, never. No. No, that's got to be old.
Yeah.
Very old.
I thought it was 1950s at first, but I'm thinking it's older than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 34. Sharon?
Does that say 1934?
Nine.
So we just dated the bottle. It's
Yeah.
1 year younger or 1 year older than you.
I'm older than the bottle.
You're worth a lot of money, Dad.
Oh, hey, man. What the heck?
I heard something. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
What was that?
I don't know. It might have. It sounded like it came from
Yeah,
here.
I wonder if my
Something.
jar break?
Something talking.
Look at this one, Dad. It's huge, whatever it is.
Oh. Yes, it can.
But I wonder what that breaking sound was.
I didn't like that sound.
No, I didn't either.
That was a bad sound.
He's a screw top, but he's different looking. Oh!
Oh. Holy
Oh my
smokes.
gosh!
You know what it looks like? No, I think that was a little lamp.
Well, Dad left, and I'll catch one more before I call it a day. I haven't been out here very long, but it's getting hot. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. There it is. Might be just a little jar. Alright guys, I brought you back to my craft room. We're going to continue digging because I have some clips from last year that I haven't showed you yet. So I want to show you those where I found jewelry even. It was really exciting. But first let's just go over the couple of things that I found just last week, and that is August 2021. And got a little visit with my dad at the same time. So this was the first little jar that I dug out. This is a milk glass jar. I love these. I have a number of them. I absolutely love them. I love the way they feel. I love the color of them as well. And the lids are normally the first to go. This is what they normally look like if they're on at all. And yeah, once you start cleaning, they just kind of fall apart. But yeah, this I'll use for storing little bits in or mixing my paints, like I said. And then this was the second jar that I pulled out. And I absolutely love that one. There is a mark here that says 1934, and I'm not convinced that's the date. My dad thinks that's the date, but I think it might be the mold number. It does have a symbol here. There we go. It's got a K, and I thought it was a D, but I'm not too sure if that's a D or not. Looks kind of like a flag, doesn't it? If anybody recognizes that symbol or the initial, I would love to hear about it. You can leave me a comment. But yeah, this is a cute little jar. I love the ridges on the side, and it's embossed. It has some age to it for sure. There's a few little bubbles in there, but I'm not convinced it's 1934. And then the one that made me gasp, I wasn't expecting it to be so short. It was a bit odd looking, and I was honestly expecting it to be broken because we did hear glass breaking before I dug this out. And I was expecting it to be more like a jar like this, like a regular jar. But my dad is right. It's an old coil lamp. And the one I have actually is a little bit too large for this. I have one that would fit. You see this part here? But I can't get it off my original thing here. So I'll just show you with the bigger one. So that would go in there. And then you put your chimney on there. And the chimney, of course, would be quite a bit smaller for this one. And I'm actually quite used to these, and I'm thinking about putting this one back into working order because I do use these when electricity goes out in our house. I'm used to them. I used to use them when I was a kid. Not because I'm that old, but because we used to live on a float house, and we had a generator, but the generator would be shut down at a certain time, so we would switch over to coil lamps at night for reading and stuff. So I'm quite used to them, and this kind of brings back memories, childhood memories for me. And again, it's not because I'm old. It's because of where I lived. We didn't have electricity, but that was pretty cool. That's a cool find right there. And that day I also pulled out some wire, and this is copper wire, my dad told me. So I'll use that for crafting. And I dug out this lid here. I'm going to paint it up, and I'm going to use it for something. And I also dug out that day this little bottle here, which is an old glue bottle. I remembered the plastic one shaped like this when I was a kid. But this is a glass one, and it's actually embossed on the side. It says LePage's Grip Spreader, and that's old fish glue, which is kind of weird. I did Google it, so this was one of the earlier ones, so probably 1940s. And when I was talking to the universe about a blue pot, this is what I meant, a blue jar. And this one is Vicks. I'm not sure what would be in that one, but always an exciting color to see laying in the dirt. Bright blue. Now we're going to head back to the bottle dump, and I'm going to show you some things that I found last year, because I did film some things last year. I just haven't shown you any of those yet. And it was really exciting because I found some jewelry. I was like a pirate. Found jewelry, found a tiny little bottle that blew my mind, and a bunch of marbles. So let's head on back, and then we'll come back here to my craft room. I'll show you what those things are all cleaned up, and then we'll get to crafting. Alright, we're going to leave there with our treasures. And I'll show you where I filmed the clips you're about to see. And again, it's all overgrown. This is where I filmed last year. Right in here. So what you're about to see now was filmed last year, October 2020. Oh, look! Look at this! Oh. Look at that! There's a marble! Just for the joy of digging it out, let's do it together. If it's not broken. Tiny. Oh, it's clear, I think. Yeah, it's clear. Oh, that's pretty. I know a witch in the gnome home who would love that. I don't think I've ever seen anything this tiny. Look at this. Oh my god. It's a bottle. That's an actual tiny bottle. I think it's a little pulley. That looks really cool. That is so cute. Bailed some jewelry. I haven't pulled it out yet to see it all. Oh yes. I don't want to pull it, it'll break it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. My first piece of jewelry. Oh my goodness. All right. I'm still not over the excitement of that bracelet. But there's a piece of glass here. I'm not sure if it's whole. Oh my god. I don't even know what to say. Oh, that is so beautiful and pretty. Look at the colors on that. Let's keep looking. And there was another piece here. Looked interesting. It looks decorative, whatever it is. I won't know for sure until I get home, but those look pretty decorative. And then a couple other metal odd bits there. I think there's something fancy right here. Looks fancy anyway. Whoa. What the heck is that? What? What a weird looking bottle that is. Wow. Fancy liquor maybe? Or maybe it was perfume? It's a ceramic vegetable. I shall take it as well. Here's a little tin. I didn't film this coming out of the ground because it was so rusted. Honestly, couldn't see any color, nothing. It was just one big lump of rust. And just for fun's sake, I threw it in that rust off stuff. It's a liquid that I pour into a bucket and just stick it in the bucket. And I left it overnight, and looking this tin up on Google, I did find it for sale on different sites. And this particular one, with this color and everything, seems to date early 1940s. It's a shame I can't get it open. I would love to use it. Not the cream inside, of course. There's no cream in there. It feels very empty. But I'd love to use it for holding something in. Maybe old pennies that I've dug out of there or something. But it's okay. It's still good for a display. Interesting little find. And it was really fun to see all the words underneath all that rust. It's too bad I didn't film it because it was just covered. Would have made a good advertising for that rust off stuff I have. That's the one I called So Cute. I think it is so cute. I really was hoping to get that in working order as well, but no, it's just not going to happen. I soaked it for about 3 days and they're stuck. But I can still make it look like it's working. I'm going to put string through it and use it in the gnome home, and I'll just pretend that it works. I'll keep you posted on that. It'll be in future video for sure. And then these two things here are lipstick tubes from the 40s. This one's from the 40s for sure. Had no idea what it was until I got all the dirt off when I got home. And once I got the top all cleaned up, it's actually embossed. And that was a cosmetic company. They made them so tiny back then. And then here's another one. It's a little bit later and more fancy looking. A little color on the top, but I'm missing the bottom. Okay, my little miniature bottle. This was so exciting. So I was trying to clean it, and I noticed under the light there was a little bit of writing on there. I had to use a magnifying glass, but there is writing on there, and this is what it says. I found a bottle just like it. It is Diorissimo. Probably butchered that name, but there it is. That's what it would look like with its lid on. Isn't that amazing? And it's dated to 1956. And that is going to go into the gnome home as well. Alright, so now on to the jewelry, which was so exciting. I was trying so hard to keep my cool. I kind of felt like screaming a little bit. It was just a really odd feeling to pull jewelry out of the ground, but you can see it's got a lot of age and wear to it. So again, probably 70 years old or more. And this piece did break after I got it home and tried to clean it. So this piece broke off. And it is missing 2 jewels, so one here and one here. One fell out of here. I'm going to show you that in a second. So that's probably why it was tossed. But I'm just wondering what these are made out of. If it's Bakelite, I don't know. And again, I can't find any stamps or maker's marks on them. And then this piece here is just amazing. In the sunlight, it was just wow. All of them just kind of give off a really neat iridescence, I guess you call it. And then there's the jewel that fell out of the top there. So there was a lesson learned for myself. If I was ever to find jewelry in the future again, if I pulled it out of the ground, I wouldn't be flipping it back and forth the way I was doing. I would have just held it gently and showed it on the camera and then stuck it into a plastic bag and then into my other bag until I got it home, just to make sure that I didn't lose any more pieces. Because this jewel, like I said, did drop out, but thankfully it dropped out in my bag. So I was able to retrieve that. But yeah, what a beautiful little piece. And it is a little bit fragile. I feel if I bend it too much, it's going to snap. So I'll use it in something. I'm just not sure yet what that will be, but I'll keep you posted. But isn't that beautiful? Even though it's costume jewelry, there's no value there, I don't think, anyway. But to me, it's kind of priceless. What a thing to pull out of the ground. Out of a dump. Kind of amazing. Alright, so last night I was filming for this video, and I actually had laid all of these out, and I decided to scrap that part of the video, but I'll insert it so you can see what it looks like when it's all out. And I've probably found these over 5 or 6 different digs, I do believe. It's kind of mind-blowing, isn't it? The number of bottles and jars and little pots that I've pulled out of there. And this is actually just a sample of what I've pulled out of there last year and a half. There's about 3 or 4 buckets full of bottles, mostly amber glass and clear glass, that I left at my parents' house because there's just no way that I could find a place for them here at my house. But I did keep my favorites, and these ones here, all of these amber glass ones, and most of these clear ones are going to go into a project that I'm doing. And I'm going to make myself a little apothecary shelf, like a wizard shelf, and I'll make some labels. I'll do it on video, so we'll do it together. These are embossed aspirin bottles. I found a bunch of those. Whiskey flasks. These little 1950s medicine bottles. I love these. They're all different sizes and shapes of them. I just adore those. And this one here, it used to be an eyedropper. I was able to identify it from the symbol on the bottom. So it's dated to 1933. An old ink bottle. I believe I showed this on video last year. My dad remembers using one just like this when he was a kid. So he was born 1933. So this would be probably in the 40s, mid-40s. So some of my middle odd bits that I found here included this that you saw me pull out of the ground. So I think it's a wraparound bracelet. So it's rounded on both ends, and then the middle would have been attached. And they're not magnetic. So, and I'm not great at identifying what material is what, so I know this is copper because my dad told me. I'm not sure what this is. I don't know if I showed the jewelry box or not. I put it in here at the same time I put in my little box here that I did on video for you guys. This was a thrifty makeover find. And then I had another jewelry box that I stuck here, and it's the perfect little box for these things here. Perfect for all my little metal odds and ends. I didn't show you these wheels that I found in that bottle dump as well. Remember this? I showed that on video last year. Little makeup compact that I pulled out of there. And let's put our tin in there as well. Alright guys, we're going to start crafting now, and I'm actually really excited to get started because I'm just flooding with ideas at this very moment. And yeah, I just put it off until I felt that inspiration hit me, and it's hit me like a ton of bricks. So we're going to start with the pepper, which is actually quite heavy. It was well made, probably was a scrubby holder. I was looking at old bell pepper decorations just to get kind of like an idea what I want to do with it, because I don't really want to turn it back into a scrubby holder because I don't like the way the water catches in there and gets gunky and stuff, and I have to keep cleaning it. I don't want to worry about that. So I'm just going to turn it into a decoration. And I looked up old bell pepper decorations just for some inspiration, and all of them that I found came with a mouse, a little ceramic mouse in them, which is weird, I think, isn't it? Do mice like peppers? I've never even thought of that before. There's a little set there, a hat, a boot, and a pepper, but they seem to have, the ones with mice seem to have a little hole in it for the foot or the tail to come through. Anyway, let's get to painting this one here, and I think I'm going to go with the traditional green. Green is my least favorite pepper. I prefer red. But a mouse would stand out better in a green pepper. Yeah, let's do green. I won't stay too long on each craft because this video will be 3 hours long if I do that. So I'll just fast forward through most of the painting. Wow, isn't that amazing? What a transformation. And when I was painting, I did find a mark, guys. Right here. Look. It says USA. And that was not visible until I got the first coat of paint on there. So we know it was made in the USA, so that's really cool. So after I did the base coat of hunter green, I did mix hunter green and leaf green together. And it came up to that color there. And I didn't measure it or anything. I just mixed it up and just went by eye. Okay, so after that was dry, I did highlight with bus yellow. And the bus yellow I just put on the side. And then I mixed my green paint just slightly with that yellow. Just ever so slight. And then I just kind of like dry brushed it on to give some highlights there. And then I finished it all off with a coat of Varathane. Now I'm going to make the mouse, but I just added a piece of felt to the bottom there because I'm going to be trying the foil in and out, and I don't want to put pressure there. It's going to take off the varnish because it's not cured yet totally. It's dry, but it's not cured. So I'm going to use some foil, and I'm just going to shape a mouse the best I can just by putting it in there and taking it out. So I'll be going back and forth. I'm going to put everything on fast forward and turn down the volume. I think I'm going to give it oversized ears. So that's just foil. That's just flattened out, and then I rounded out the sides. Okay, I'm going to go off camera for a bit and straighten out the ears because it's kind of hard for me to look over the camera and do it. So I just have to straighten them out, make sure they're the same size, and I'll work a little bit more on the face, and then we'll move on to the next step. So I just built the face out a little bit more with foil and masking tape, and I think it's going to look really cute. I'm going to add a little mouth right here, and again, that's just foil. Just testing out some arms, and I'm going to have to add a little booster in there so he doesn't sink so low. But the arm is just going to be foil that I've wrapped up, and I'll give little hands on the end. And I think what I'm going to do, so I'll just wrap it around, and when I'm ready to, I'll just tape it in place. I think I'll have his little hands sitting on the side like that. I'm just going to tape this into place so I can work with those hands a little bit better. Okay, so now I've poured some glue into a little bowl here, and I've ripped up some paper towel. You can use napkins as well. And I'm just going to cover him, wrong end. I'm going to cover him in the glue and then the paper towel. So I'll just do little sections at a time. Okay, I'll cover the entire mouse. I'll do whatever I can now, and then I'll set it underneath the fan and let it dry. And then once it's dry, I'll continue on. So he got entirely covered with the paper towel, and now I'm going to paint him. So I'm going to be adding some fur, and I'll start with the white first, and I'll show you how I do it. And we'll do the white together, and then I'll go on to do the rest by myself. So for the tummy part, it's not going to take very much. I'm just going to take some white yarn, just wrap it around my hand like this in a little bundle. Sharp scissors are best for this. And now I'm going to cut through the bundle in little tiny bits. And then I use tacky glue to attach it, and tacky glue is the best. And then spread the glue in an even layer. I forgot to mention that we paint a similar color to the yarn that we're going to be using. So that's why I painted the belly white and the rest of the body is gray, because I'm going to use gray on the rest of the body. Okay, once you have the glue spread around, then you just take your homemade flocking and you just press it into the glue. I go around and make sure it's all pressed in. Use a little bit of force, and then I'm going to set it under the fan and leave it dry for about a half an hour. Alright, it's been sitting under the fan for about a half an hour and it's totally dry, so now I can just brush it off. And what comes off is just the excess, and what's left underneath is the coat of fur. And if you find any bare spots, you can easily fill it in just by adding a little bit of glue and a little bit more fur and wait for it to dry. I did just shape his head a little bit with my pliers, and I'm just making a spot for a couple of eyes, just scraping the fur away. And I got a couple of split peas. I did this in one other project and they turned out so well, thought I'd do it again. And I just painted them black. So I'm going to use some tacky glue and I'm going to glue them right to the side of the head, but I just had to get rid of some of that fur there so they'll stick well. Little dot of tacky glue, and then just push them in place. Okay, I'm going to set this under the fan and let the paint and the glue dry. So the nose is one of those split peas or beans that come out of here. It was just a lot smaller than the eyes. And then I painted it with skin tone. And the ears and the hands and the mouth, I did paint pink first. And then I toned them down with the skin tone. And then I gave everything that I painted a varathane coat. I just remembered that I had actually pulled out a paintbrush out of that bottle dump last year. And this is only a piece of it. I have another piece somewhere and I can't remember where it is right now. I went looking for it, but anyway, you can see that there's some rust in there, some dirt. I did try to clean it up when I picked it out of there, but I can see a bunch of dirt falling out here. And the bristles are black, which I don't want. But I've been going through it and trying to get, I don't know if these are faded or if they're painted that color or what, but there's some lighter colored ones in here. And I picked out a few so I can give the mouse some whiskers from the bottle dump paintbrush, which is really cool. Okay, so I'm going to use my awl. I've already done it. I poke a hole in the side there. So I've got a hole on both sides. And I'm going to use my tacky glue. Dab the end in glue and put it in the hole. This time I'll do all three at the same time. It doesn't really matter how you do it. I'm just going to dab a little glue around there. And then I put in some more fur and just tap it in. Once that glue dries, they're pretty stuck in there. I've done a number of these little creatures with whiskers, and you can tug on them, but you have to leave them dry, of course. As long as you get some tacky glue in there and a little bit of extra fur, tap it in. It's the next morning and I can give those a tug and they stay in place. So that was a success and I'm really happy I remembered I had that paintbrush, because how cool is that? So I was just thinking, what else could I use on this project from the bottle dump? And I did find some wheels. So I have 3 from one vehicle and then I have 1 from a different vehicle, and these were found on different days. And I got some wheels. So I was thinking, this one, I was able to bang the dirt out of the center, same as this one, but these two are going to need a little bit of help. So this wheel here, the center hole is a lot larger than the other three, so I'll have to figure out something a little bit different for that one. But I think right about there. Now I can just crimp that over. To attach them, it's going to be difficult. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the old masking tape and paper towel trick. It's been my experience working with paper towel that once it's dry, once you get the glue dry, it's strong. Okay, so now I was thinking, because it's probably the cutest thing I've ever seen, a little green pepper with wheels, this copper wire that I pulled out of there. Maybe if I made a little steering wheel, so I've just made a little circle, and I was thinking about adding the cross inside. It's quite rusty and stuff, so I might cover it or paint it or something. We'll see. So now that it's painted, it feels better and there's no dirt dropping off of it. And I'm just trying to figure out how to attach it. So I'm thinking this little wire here, I've been bending it back and forth, working it around the design inside the pepper. Because this is wrapped wire and it's got strands in it, I was able to open it up and I can stick the wire right through the center there and then close it up again and add a little bit of Gorilla Glue. Instead of just relying on the Gorilla Glue, I'm adding a little bit of wire as well. So I got very thin gauged wire. Added one to the center already, you can't even see it. I just wrapped it over the top and then down to the bottom and twisted it. As you twist it, you can feel it tightening up. There. Now that definitely will not move, and I can just cut these free. So I just covered up the booster and the steering wheel stem with masking tape, and I'll do a coat of paper towel after this video is over. Same thing, just glue and paper towel over top of that, and everything will stay in place forever. Then we can stick them in there. And if I would have known that I was going to be adding a steering wheel and everything like that to this guy, I probably would have designed his hands a little bit differently, but they're still doing okay. Because they're still a bit pliable, I could mold them around that steering wheel. So it turned out. And I added a couple of black lines with a fine felt pen for little fingers. And he's off to the farmer's market. I think he's off to get himself some more vegetables. There's no cheese for this guy. He's a dairy-free mouse. It's vegetables only. How adorable is that? I had no idea when I pulled that little pepper out of the ground that I would be sitting here on video today showing you a little car made out of all my little bottle dump finds. It's a ceramic vegetable. I shall take it. I absolutely adore this. It's everything that I love. I've salvaged some things, I've given new life to old things, and I've created a little mouse. Always gotta love a new mouse. And underneath here, everything feels really solid. Like, I don't know how well it would hold up for, you know, it shouldn't be played with anyway, like roughly, because it is breakable. But for display purposes and for the purposes that I'm using it for, it's perfect. It feels strong and sturdy. Tires feel great. I did paint the inside wheels just to cover up the little bits that I added there to keep the wheels in sturdy. But yeah, everything worked out perfectly. I'm really happy with this project. And when I started the video, I said I was going to be working on other things as well, but because this project kind of took on a life of its own, we're going to have to end it here, guys. Otherwise the video is going to be 4 hours long. And we'll do some more projects from the bottle dump in another video on another day. And remember last video when I said I'm manifesting a silver play button for that side right there? We just hit 50,000. So we're halfway there, guys. Halfway there. Before you know it, we're going to be having cake and celebrating 100,000. I appreciate all the likes, comments, and shares. You guys have been so great and so loving and supporting. I just love every single one of you. And the other thing I wanted to mention was comments. I'm getting a lot of comments and I'm trying my very best to get to all of them. It takes me some time though, especially July and August have been very busy for me. But I hope to get to everyone's comments before too long. And if you have left me a comment, please know I'm not ignoring you. I will get to you as soon as I can. In my last video, I did mention the shoe brush, and and some of you guessed it right, I am going to make a hedgehog out of that. I'm going to try anyway. So keep your eyes open for that. That was supposed to be today's video, but I got distracted by the bottle dump, so. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you super soon.